Today we're in Spain, looking at one of the most watched games ever recorded. A chess match in the Spanish show, Spain's Got Talent. A chess game in a talent show? You heard that right. It was no ordinary chess match, and the stakes were high. Former world champion Anatoly Karpov faced the mysterious Rey Engima. If Karpov were to win, Enigma needed to do a face reveal. Rey Engima, the mysterious chess player from Spain, has captured the imagination of chess fans worldwide. Concealing his true identity behind a full-body checkered spandex suit, he has amassed a massive following on YouTube, with over 440,000 subscribers eager to learn from his chess expertise. His TikTok account, boasting over 700,000 followers, showcases his unique approach to the game as he engages in chess matches with enthusiasts in public parks. But let's not forget about the formidable opponent Rey Engima faced in this epic encounter, Anatoly Karpov. Karpov, a former world champion, is renowned for his strategic prowess and immense contributions to the game. With a career spanning decade, Karpov's mastery of chess solidified his place among the all-time greats. The game began with Rey playing the white pieces and making his first move by moving his pawn to d4. In response, Karpov moved his knight to f6. Rey then chose the Cole system formation, advancing his knight to f3, placing his pawn on e3, and developing his light-squared bishop to d3. He followed this by moving his other knight to d2. On the other hand, the former world champion opted for the Queen's Indian defense, developing his pieces by placing his pawn on e6 and moving the b-pawn to b6. He then developed his light-squared bishop from the b7 square. As both players partially developed their forces, Karpov made a direct attack on the center by moving his pawn to c5, putting pressure on the d4 pawn. Rey responded by playing his pawn to c3 to support the d4 pawn. Karpov continued his development by moving his bishop to e7, but made a slight inaccuracy by deciding to trade pawns with the move c into d4. The problem with this move is that after white recaptured with his e-pawn, the c1 to h6 diagonal is now open for the white bishop on c1. The game progressed as both players castled their kings and continued developing their remaining pieces. White made the move knight to c4, clearly intending to develop his dark-squared bishop. In response, Karpov activated his queen by moving it to c7. Rey countered by playing his bishop to g5. Karpov chased the bishop away with the move pawn to h6, followed by his knight to d5, offering an exchange of bishops. However, instead of retreating the bishop to g3 and exerting more pressure on the d6 pawn, Rey made an inaccurate move by exchanging the bishops. Karpov recaptured with his knight, prompting Rey to reroute his knight from f3 to d2, and opening up avenues for his queen to reach the g4 and h5 squares. As the white queen reached the h4 square, Karpov seized the opportunity to launch a counterattack on the queen's side. He played his pawn to b5, attacking the knight on c4. Rey responded by exchanging pawns, followed by an inaccurate exchange of rooks on the a-file. The problem for white with this move is that black now has complete control over the a-file. After white retreated his knight to e3, Karpov completed his invasion by playing his rook to a2, attacking the b2 pawn. Rey attempted to defend by playing his knight to d1 to protect the b2 pawn. It is evident that black now holds a better position as the white pieces on d1, d2, and d3 are slightly passive compared to the black pieces. Karpov played his bishop to c6 to protect the b5 pawn, and in response, Rey played his knight to e4, aiming to exchange as many pieces as possible to simplify the position, because that would make his job in facing the former world champion easier. So far, Karpov held a slightly better position, but Rey, avoiding any blunders, proved to be a formidable opponent for the former world champion. Karpov proceeded to exchange pieces and then retreated his knight to f6 to defend the h7 square. Then played his queen to b7, threatening to capture the g2 pawn with his bishop, and Rey countered by placing his knight on e3 to safeguard the pawn. With time running short for both players, Rey executed a strong move by playing his pawn to d5, attacking the black bishop on c6. After exchanging pawns, Rey relocated his queen back to f3, posing significant threats on the king's side with the potential move of the knight to f5. Recognizing the danger, Karpov moved his bishop to d7 to protect the squares around the knight. While the optimal move for white would have been to move the bishop to f5, Rey, influenced by time pressure, made another imprecise move by playing the knight to g4. Karpov happily responded by exchanging this knight with his bishop on d7. And now with the move queen to b4 attacking the g4 pawn, it became evident that black had obtained a superior position. Karpov responded by playing his rook to e8, and in return, Rey made the move king to h2, another inaccurate move. At this crucial moment, Karpov missed a golden opportunity for a win. He could have played pawn to g6, attacking the bishop, and then capturing the white pawn on g4 with his knight. However, Karpov chose to exert pressure on the d5 pawn by moving his rook to e5. Despite both players facing time constraints, Rey managed to find the strong move rook to d3, attacking the b3 pawn. Karpov decided to replace this pawn by capturing the d5 pawn with his knight. As white played rook to d3, Karpov attempted to escape with his queen to e5, delivering a check. Rey blocked the check by placing his queen on g3. This moment proved to be critical in the game, as black was forced to allow a queen exchange. However, Karpov in this situation opted to decline the exchange and played the move knight to f4, which turned out to be a significant blunder. The question that arises is whether Rey can find the best move in this position and overcome the great Anatoly Karpov. The answer is no. In this position, instead of playing the winning move rook to e3, which attacks the queen, Rey missed this opportunity and played his rook to f3, aiming to attack the knight and seek a queen exchange. Consequently, Karpov was forced to allow the exchange and retreated his knight to e6. With the queens removed from the board, we now find ourselves in a rook plus bishop versus rook plus knight endgame, which, with correct play from both sides, should result in a draw. Karpov adopted a theoretical approach in this game, endeavoring to bring his king closer to the battle. He moved it from g8 to b4 after white played his rook to d2. It is worth noting that at this stage of the game, after 55 moves, both players were facing time pressure. In this critical and pivotal position, Rey should have played his rook to d3 to prevent the white king from infiltrating the white camp through the c3 square. However, he made a disastrous move by playing bishop to g8. Consequently, when Karpov moved his king to the c3 square, the white rook became trapped, leading to a complete loss for white. Realizing that, Rey was forced to sacrifice his rook by playing it to e2. Even though white now found themselves in a completely losing position, there was only one glimmer of hope remaining for Rey: to try and flag Karpov. With both sides having only a few seconds left on their clocks, the game continued with white playing as fast as possible, while Karpov focused on capturing all the remaining white pieces. As he successfully accomplished this, his final objective was to attempt a checkmate on the white king with just a few seconds remaining for him. Karpov decided that he wouldn't have enough time to promote a queen. Instead, he opted to deliver a checkmate using his king and rook. When he came close to achieving this goal, unfortunately, he ran out of time before delivering the checkmate, resulting in the game being declared a draw. Both players graciously shook hands, and Karpov smiled at Rey, who, with this result, managed to maintain his mysterious identity. Wow, what a match! If you want to see one of the most thrilling games of Magnus Carlsen, click here.